Before this video starts, I just want to say I'm like really sick. So like if I'm voice cracking a lot, it's because like my throat is like gone. I don't know why. I had a sore throat and it was gone. The sore throat's gone now. Now like my voice is like gone. I don't know why. I can't explain why, but I'm still gonna make this video. This weekend for Apex Legends Esports has been the craziest weekend ever. It's been insane, especially that final. That final was insane. I believe it was the longest LAN ever for any Apex LAN ever. It was crazy. It was 13 games, I believe, and Alliance finally won in game 13. I'll show up the scoreboard right now. It is insane. I think there was 13 teams that were on match point, which is insanity. The fact that there's more people on match point than less it's crazy. And the fact that like every game another team that wasn't on match point won, I was watching it live. I was watching a Nice Wig's stream, and even I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? There were so many times I was like, oh, Aurora's gonna win this, or Falcon's gonna win this, or Team Liquid when they're on top of Barometer we're gonna win it. But you know, at the end of the day, like every time, especially Alliance and the Gazebo, every time some team that was on match point will come and save the day, and there'll be another game. And they're in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, so it was literally like 1 a.m. when they all finished, and they're all tired, and they all wanted to go to sleep and stuff like that. So it was just like, it was a crazy event. And here are like some of like the best things that like I personally like. Well, it was like most like I was like, oh shit, it was like the most hype moment like ever. The beginning of the event actually, or the beginning of Sunday, was not that exciting. It was just Falcons rolling through the whole lobbies, you know, and I stopped watching after they got to match point because I was like, wow, this is gonna be done in like 6 games, like 7 games. But for some reason, once they got match point, it was literally like they fumbled. They literally fumbled the entire bag. I think to sum it up, the first exciting thing, or not really exciting, it was kind of like, you know, it was like a chain effect. But when Zero pushed the lines with the Kraber, or he pushed with the Havoc at the first, then switched his gun to the Kraber, and then just missed, like, dude just whiffed like 3 shots. And I respect it so much, because if he got a hit, they were going down, and Falcons might have won the game. However, like, Alliance saved the entire lobby because they knew that Falcons was wrapping them early, so they got the knock on Hal immediately. Then Jen and then Zero tried, you know, try use that Kraber to get that damage output. It just didn't work out. And that was like the beginning of the end for them. Even like when they're on top of the building and they're trying to get, or Zero's trying to get a pick, and they all have blue. Obviously Zero didn't know that. Dude, my voice is crazy. Obviously Zero didn't know that, because we have hindsight. We have the health bars on top when you're watching the stream. But if he just hit one, man, they probably win that game. It's probably over. And then I'd probably say for the second best moment was Falcons basically having zone in World's Edge, and they have all red, and they're not farming, but they have a good position. But somehow I think they make a bad rotation, and they just die. And Hal's the last one left, and he goes all the way up top to the God spot, God Rock, and he's just behind the team of 3, and he's not shooting. So funny. And I believe DMS was the team up top, so they won that. So I went to another game. Now, arguably, probably the saddest moment. This is probably not exciting. It's probably sad. Well, it's both exciting and sad. It is like a butterfly effect. It's kind of crazy. It's when Team Liquid was all the way up top, Barometer, DMS, and LG was all the way at the back. Like, the LG basically had like a free win. They had a free win, and I don't know what team was on the left. I forgot. Let me actually check that for you guys. It was EXO and DMZ and then LG, all the way in the back. So it's basically like a triangle. And the LG basically, they kind of had like good zone. They kind of had a good end zone. They didn't really need to do anything. They obviously wanted KP. And they had 59 points. They had 59 points. And there's 3 squads left and 9 people. So it's 3v3v3. And they had 59 points. And they ended that game with 59 points. Like, are you serious? This is crazy. And the reason why is because DMZ, more specifically DMZ Taskmaster, had a Kraber and collided LG. Collided. Are you like, it's crazy. That is insane. That shot, that Kraber shot, that collab, it's a $600,000 Kraber shot. If you think about it. Because it makes LG not go into match point, because since they got collided, well, it's basically GG. You know, both teams are like looking at them at that point, and it was like, well, no, not both teams. Well, basically both teams. The Taskmaster was looking at them, but LG wasn't really focused on DMZ. They were focused more on EXO. So that's why like they really weren't expecting that Kraber collat shot. I'm gonna be honest, no one was. No one really was. And that shot was crazy. And we went to another game after that. And guess what? LG on 59 points. They're not on match point. They're not. They proceed to win the next game. That Kraber shot literally cost LG $600,000. And I know they got third place, so they definitely won a lot of money. I don't really know the specific amount, how much they won. But they could have won $600,000, because if they had not gotten Krabered, they definitely would have gotten a kill. Or at the very least, they probably would have wiped out EXO or DMZ. They would have gotten a point. They would have. I have 100% full confidence that they would have been able to get a point. However, that Kraber collat shot is probably the craziest moment. And hindsight, it's crazy, because LG wins the next game, and they're 1 point off, 1 kill off from actually winning the entire tournament and from being done. It was crazy. And to think about it, like I'm sure LG is like, they're probably like, damn, you know, looking back at, you know, the VODs and stuff, they're probably like, what the hell, like why, like that is insane. Can't believe that. I'm talking right now, and I still can't believe it, man. I still can't believe it. It's crazy, man. And the fact that they win the next game is even crazier. Definitely another top tier moment would have to be Twist getting the respawn. I was up in North Pad, in the trenches in the gazebo, and Alliance they basically had like good positioning. Twist was a solo, and LG and Falcons were fighting each other, and they're basically just 3v3ing each other, basically just killing each other at that point. So Alliance basically had that win. I believe this was game 12. The Alliance basically had that win. However, Twist, I'm just gonna show you guys the picture. Twisted Minds is respawning Easy Flash Kids and Player K. It's crazy. They got a full reset. They really did. And Alliance, they had a chance to either push LG or push the solo while, you know, getting the reset. But for some reason, they didn't. And in hindsight, you know, they definitely should have, I feel like, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are saying, you know, it was the right call to stay in the gazebo. However, like, I don't know, man. Like, they basically just got sandwiched at that point once it was a full reset and no one pushed. So I don't really know what to say about that, but the fact that they got a full reset, and the fact that they were the only team that was not on match point out of those three, and they were a solo before they got the res. It was crazy. Alliance was on match point, LG's on match point, Falcons was on match point, Twisted Minds was not, and they won because they got the full reset. Crazy. One of the most hype esports moments like in Apex history. Insane. It was insane. And to top it all off, the next game, Alliance, they didn't swing, they didn't do anything. However, in this game, the last game, they swung, and they swung Blacklist, and they got Godspot, and they ultimately won Esports World Cup 2024, and it was the cinema. It was peak. And I'm so proud of Hackies, Unlucky, and Effect. They are goated, and Alliance is like one of the most loyal organizations in all of Apex, and they deserve it. They're the first EMEA champions of the world of Apex, and I mean, you can't win better than that. You literally cannot win better than that. 13 games, 1 a.m. in Saudi. You basically like you're hurting yourself because you're like, man, like we should have won game 12, but you're like, no. Let's take it one game at a time and let's win this one, and you proceed to win that one. That is crazy. That is cinema. And the fact that ALGS is in like 2 or 3 weeks is gonna be crazy. I definitely don't think there's gonna be another like 13 game match point, and you know that's gonna be insane if it is. But this Esports World Cup did not disappoint at all, and it was such a good event to watch. It was such a good event to spectate, and I was stressing. I had no team I was rooting for. Actually, I was actually rooting for Mizuchi. I couldn't think of the name. I was rooting for Mizuchi. And like partially LG. Partially. I was rooting for them partially. Once they got match point, I wanted them to win, because I've always wanted Sweet to win a LAN. I've always wanted Timmy to win a LAN. But in the back of my head, I also wanted Alliance to win a LAN as well, and they did. And the first EMEA champions in the world, and like I said, there ain't no better way to win like that. It was a crazy event for Apex Esports, and definitely put Apex on the map if it wasn't already for esports, because I know there's a lot of people that don't really like the how like battle royales, especially. It's not Apex itself, it's more battle royales. People don't really like watching battle royales. They like watching more tactical shooters instead, like CS and Valorant. However, I believe, I'll say this and I'll die on this hill, I believe that Apex has the best format of any esports ever. I believe they do. That match point format, if they didn't have that match point format and it was just 10 games and whoever had the highest points won, Falcons would have won that by like game 5. They would have won by like game 5. So the fact there's a match point format, which means that like anyone can win, man. Anyone can win. If there's one match point, the Falcons would have won that easily. Honestly, the Falcons are like the 2011 Miami Heat. They just formed the super team, and they had all these expectations, and at the end of the day, they got to the finals and they lost. To guess who? Dirk Nowitzki, a European. And Falcons lost to Alliance. Yo, the correlation. This is crazy. This is literally the 2011 finals. This is literally crazy. All right, I'm gonna start talking. What a crazy event. And I hope Apex Esports can deliver again like this, because this was insane and such a fun event to watch. Anyway, it's been your boy Bell God. I know I've been yapping too much, and I know I've been like voice cracking this entire time, but peace.